There's some breaking news just this morning. We just heard the Zach Kirkhorn, CFO of Tesla, is out. They released an 8K talking about a departure of a principal. We're going to walk you through that. I've got Jeff Lutz here with us, and Alexandra Mertz might be joining us shortly. Is this a big deal or isn't this a big deal? So let's go ahead and share what we saw. So this morning we had a LinkedIn post from Zach Kirkhorn. He's a CFO or master of coin at Tesla. And he says right here, this morning, Tesla announced that I've stepped down from my role as chief financial officer, succeeded by our chief accounting officer, Vaibhav Taneja. So first of all, it says here that Tesla announced it. I'll show you the 8K part about that. And then he goes, being a part of this company is a special experience, and I'm extremely proud of the work we've done together since I joined 13 years ago. As I shift my responsibilities to support this transition, I want to thank the talented, passionate, and hardworking employees at Tesla who have accomplished things many thought not possible. I will also want to thank Elon for his leadership and optimism, which has inspired so many people. So if we look at the actual 8K sayings, so this is just more of a generic thing. I know this is hard, but it was from the 8K, so it's a little bit lengthy. It says here, Tesla and appointed, as of August 4th, that's this Friday, appointed Vaibhav Taneja as chief financial officer, in addition to his current role as chief accounting officer, to succeed Zachary. So Kirkhorn stepped down on Friday after a 13-year tenure with the company, the last 4 years of which he was master of coin and chief financial officer. Yeah, so that's what they announced. Okay, so Jeff, what is your thoughts? What's happening here? Is this good news, bad news?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it in the good news bucket. I'd say I don't think we know. I mean, I think the first takeaway is we honestly don't know what happened here. But at large companies, people leave. Like they don't work forever. So I think more information may or may not come out over the next time period. But what we have here is we don't have an abrupt departure. We have someone that is morning, Alexander. We have someone that is staying on through the end of the year. And if there was a problem, or I would say a significant high severity disagreement or issue or compliance issue, whatever, you wouldn't have the person, transitioning, for 2 quarters, third quarter and fourth quarter, transitioning their duties. So this seems like this was, planned. This seems like there was some succession planning that happened here. In this case, and we'll have to see how it plays out. The one good thing you can take away is Tesla does have a very deep bench, and over the last several years they've been able to stabilize and grow their executive team. So I guess we'll have to see how this plays out. But strong executive team and a planned lengthy departure are a couple of things I'm looking at here.
So Alexandra, Jeff just said that he thinks it's more likely that it was planned, but why would they announce it on a Monday morning if he had left on a Friday? What's your take?
I mean, I'm not surprised, and I'm sorry I'm such a mess. I was not supposed to be on camera today, but that's just it. I'm not surprised that it's like poor execution, right, on communication. We're not surprised about that. Obviously, things like that usually should have been put out Friday at 4 o'clock. Everybody digests it, and Monday morning it's forgotten. But that's just Tesla. We have to live with that. That's what they do, and that's how they roll, and we're just going to rock with it. My 2 cents are the fact that he stays, Jeff, you're completely right, shows that this is amicable. There was no fraud, or there was no, big discovery that needed an immediate action. I do believe, that's my personal theory, is when they did the succession planning for Elon, remember that's about 3-6 months ago, then Tom Jew come up and whatever, that probably Zach had hopes to be the future CEO, and maybe that's not the case anymore, and that was made clear. And so slowly but surely he decided that this, he needed another future somewhere else, and I'm sure we'll find him somewhere else soon. I mean, he's a great guy. And what I loved about him, he was the most boring communicator I love for conference calls with Wall Street analysts, right? So oh, is it my audio that's popping? Oh, I'm really sorry because I hear it fine and clear here. Okay, well, I'll just have to go through that. Sorry about the image, sorry about the sound. You get it all today. So he has 13 years at Tesla, the last 4 as a CFO. If he felt this was, the top position he could have, there are reasons for that. And if he's still around for the next 5 months to end the year, this is a nothing burger, and the stock is reacting and it will recover in a couple of days. This is just the time that the market digests that. The replacement they put in place, I'm not sure this is going to be a permanent replacement, but he obviously has all the credentials. PricewaterhouseCoopers has been there as chief accounting officer for the last couple of years. He knows the finances as much as Zach did. So this is going to go a smooth transition. I don't think this is a big story. And I see a couple of comments saying he's 34, no, he's 39 and 13 years with Tesla. And I think Tesla years can't double and triple. I mean, these guys are really putting all their sweat and power in them.
Herbert,
you're muted, Herbert.
I was going to say, what do you think, Jeff? Because when I read his announcement, it sounded like, Tesla announced this morning. I mean, I guess.
Oh, let me jump in there. Sorry that I cut you there. That sentence, that first sentence in LinkedIn is a legal sentence. He put that in to make very clear the SEC filing is done. Zach is probably the most thought through communicator of this whole crowd. And so the fact that he put his statement saying Tesla has announced that meant I am later in the timeline. I'm not jumping in front of the line to announce this myself. This is me following protocol, first the SEC filing, then Tesla has announced it, and now here is my take.
Okay, good. That makes me feel a little bit better. So let's take a look at what Gary thought, and let's react to this. He said, my read on Zach's resignation, Tesla has made him very wealthy, and Zach likely told Elon it was time for him to move on, suggested he leave at the year end. Now, the question comes up is, would Zach really leave at this point where amazing things are starting to happen to Tesla? People are asking that question. Elon likely asked him to reconsider. Zach reconsidered and told him he still wanted to leave. Elon took it badly, said let's make it effective immediately. Really? I don't see this as Zach disagreeing with Elon's vision, which has all been telegraphed. Okay, so before we go into that lengthy one, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, it's hard to say. Again, we're going to be speculating here for some period of time until, one of them eventually, makes a further statement on the topic. But I go back to Alexandra's point of that, Tesla years are pretty grueling, and 13 years at one company, especially kind of a Bay Area based company, is that's a lengthy tenure at one company. So, yeah, it's hard to say like what one specific instance or another. From my experience, and I've been a C-level exec at a company, sometimes there's a cumulative effect of various things happening, both in your life and then what's going on inside of the company itself. And those two things together, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes, you may think but you don't know. But then all of a sudden, kind of that cumulative effect reaches a certain point. You say, all right, it's probably time. And then you let management know. And then there's a negotiation back and forth. So it is really hard to game plan out exactly what happened, but it doesn't change the fundamentals, doesn't change the portfolio, like what the company is shipping, the number one selling car, and then what they're about to ship in brand new segments. None of that changes. So again, these things happen. I think it's been pretty quiet actually in Tesla on the executive front for some period of time, and we actually saw that group solidify, with the appointments and promotions and the increased stock awards earlier in the year. So, sometimes these things happen. It's really hard for us to know. There could be something else going on, both personally or professionally, that could be behind it, and maybe we'll learn. Maybe we'll never learn.
I agree with you. I'm really not I mean, I'm obviously disappointed because I like the guy. I think he was the right person at the right place. But I'm not worried for Tesla's financial. There are two or three things I want to make sure are said. First, the fact that he stays 4 months shows this is smooth. This is not something abrupt, whatever. The second is, so we have this new person coming up who was the accounting officer, so he knows everything. He's a former PwC. We have Robin Denholm, the speaker of the board, who comes from finance. So there are two people, top down and bottom up, who are going to fill this space. And for 4 months, Zach is there to do a perfect transition. And the third point I see a lot on Twitter today is like, oh my God, why would he leave a company that's going to be 5 or 10 trillion soon? Well, first of all, it's not going to be 5 and 10 trillion tomorrow. And second, he has his option. Zach, if he doesn't want to, doesn't need to work for the rest of his life. I mean, I'm sure he wants to at 39, and maybe he doesn't, and that's none of our business. But if it would be only about money that may or may not materialize in 5 or 10 years, if you have other reasons, life is too short to wait for money that may come or may not come. And he has enough. So that I don't think that's any, indication of anybody's position on the future of Tesla. It's just, let's not exaggerate. That's just not what it is. He has his Tesla money more than all of us together. So there's no problem on that side.
So, okay. So it is kind of a little bit confusing to me still. So they made the announcement right away this morning. Some people are saying that that's, if it was a normal CFO transition, they would have said he's going to decide that he's going to leave several months from now, instead of saying it's effective today. That's like just that part. Is that true or not true? And then, but then he is staying. He is going to be there for 4 months to support this transition. So, the question everybody's asking, which of course I need to kind of bring up, is there any chance at all that there is restatement of financials that might need to be done? But why would he stay for 4 months if that was the case, right?
That's exactly it. I mean, if there would have been any fraud, if there would have been any, major mistake, first of all, they would have restated now, like immediately. Because if they find something, they can't just sit on it and wait for it. And second, he wouldn't stay for 4 months. So that's not it. It's if it's professional, it's because, he got the message he won't be CEO and he was hoping for that. At 39, you may be ambitious and think that's your calling. And then if it confirms it's not going to be your calling, you may be disappointed. And the second thing is maybe there's stuff in his personal life, or maybe he just got the offer he can't refuse. I mean, we all in love with Tesla, but when you are in a professional situation, there may come something that seems more exciting to you, and that's fine.
CEO. If he can be CEO, because he doesn't look like he would have been CEO, and then he thought maybe he's got a chance. Somebody offered him. Hopefully,
and I mean that. Let me get back to that point. I'm not surprised. It's obviously still Elon making the decisions. I'm not surprised that Elon would not put a financial officer as CEO. I think his vision of Tesla is that this is not an administrative, financially geared company. Of course, finances have to be fine, but he's all about the vision and the execution. And while Zach was very, hands-on with discussing pricing and margin with each department, we saw that very well at the Investor Day in March. When he was the one leading the transitions of the different presenters and explaining on how he worked with these and these on the finances and the margins and the outcomes of all that. I don't think that Elon, if he has a say in that, and we probably all agree that he has a say in who will be the next CEO, would appoint a finance person. He doesn't want an accounting type for that. He wants, somebody with the push that is needed to bring this company to where he sees it.
Okay, so Jeff, you sent me this tweet from the accountant. He's a CPA in New York City. We've been following him, or this person. We don't know. Yeah, well, no, it looks like it's a person, a male here. It says, from my experience, staying on to December is an indication that this was a planned succession move. When there is some issue, it is not a good idea to have someone hang around that is not happy. So that's his opinion. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I've seen and been a part of a similar experience when you have an amicable departure. This is what you do. You stay on. You support the transition. You work with the team for a period of time, especially at this level. It's usually not a couple of weeks. It's usually several months. And, to take it through the end of the year tells me that there's some planning involved in this. And again, it's nothing abrupt. So I agree with the accountant's take. And like I said, I've seen and experienced this myself personally, and I've seen both sides of this. I've seen the more abrupt side of it, and I've seen in both experiences more planned side of it. And this tells me that there isn't bad blood, or there's not something major erupting that that he's supporting the transition. So I think I agree with the take.
And if Tesla wouldn't be a publicly traded company, we probably wouldn't have known today, right? That's with the SEC filings, we may have just had a fade out over the next 4 or 5 months. He may actually show up at any of the other companies from Elon. Who knows? I mean, it's not that I try to speculate or whatever, but he left it very open. He wasn't like, closing any doors and just being the professional he is. I don't think this is a big thing. People who want to buy stock today, I think they are very wise. And I think in a week or two, this is just digested. The only thing I would like to is, reserve my opinion on the replacement person. I don't know anything about him. Let's wait for the next earnings call and let's see how that person is, because that is the place where I always feel, and how I'm been ranting about that there's improvement to be made. And who knows, maybe we found our perfect person to run these calls.
Okay. So I was able to get from Sawyer's feed, and this is that person.
Okay.
And he has experiences that he's chief accounting officer for 6 years, corporate controller. Yeah. So he's been at Tesla.
No, actually, he's been chief accounting officer the same 4 years than Zach has been CFO. So they have been working hand in hand all this time.
Solar City, so of course, in Price Waterhouse. So it looks, obviously, it's going to be a big deal. And then Sawyer tweeted this out too. This article was published in 2019. The departure of Tesla CFO is a huge negative for the stock. Shortly after then CFO, Deepak, stepped down following many years with the company. Zach Kirkhorn's appointment as his replacement was met with skepticism at that time. Yeah, so I mean,
remember
obviously
that.
CFOs leave all the time.
This is already 4.5 years ago.
And I remember that time. It was like who's this young, mid 30s? Like, what would what's going on? Like, what are they thinking? And now, literally, he's thought of as like this, this deity, this god, and what's happening. Everybody's hair's on fire. So it's just interesting how it's literally in 4 years that transition took place. So,
would you mind, Herbert? Would you mind putting it up the CV again? I just want to see how old he is. Sorry, Jeff, I interrupted you again.
No worries.
Oh, no, this is it.
Yeah, and then it says Price Waterhouse, and that was in 1999.
16 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's older than Zach was. Okay.
Really? You think
that's probably in his mid 40s?
Mm-hmm. So young. First CFO of a massive.
I know. Don't tell me about it. That's what I meant. Oh my gosh! On Monday morning.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we shouldn't worry, and this shouldn't be.
Okay.
This shouldn't be of any, major news.
So here's what happened to the stock, and it's looking like it's keeping that way. It's fallen 2.7%, about $7. It's at 246 right now. So it dipped and it's rising up again. So I think, we'll see what happens, right? Because it's just still too early. But so first of all, you guys have said to me right now that it's very unlikely that he left because of financial statements as fraud, and that needs to be restated. Very, very unlikely because he's staying for 4 months. The person replacing him looks like he's very well, a very good replacement, because he's been there, like you said, for many, many years, 6 years, and he's with Zach, and he was with Solar City, so he's a trusted person that they've been with together. This concept of him announcing it, or them announcing it on a Monday morning, and this whole transition thing's just a little bit different than what's usually done. That's the only kind of like pause for news, right?
Yeah, The only other comment I would make is in the 8K, if he was named interim CFO, it would have said interim. So the fact that he was named CFO also kind of leads to the point of this being more planned than please step in until we figure out who's actually going to do this.
Yeah.
Let me show.
Very good point.
Jay Kim has a point. Let's put this up. No chance this was planned. After 13 years, if this were planned, Zach wouldn't have been would have taken a bow during the Q2 conference call. Elon would have thanked him publicly. We won't be hearing from Zach during Q3. Like he would have said that if this was planned.
I don't agree with any of that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alexandra.
No, I don't agree with any of that. I mean, was it planned like 5 weeks ago? No, it wasn't planned 5 weeks ago. So this was probably a back and forth. You know how it is with those top level positions. Somebody wants to leave, or somebody wants a promotion, or somebody wants different working conditions, whatever. And then it goes a couple of days or weeks back and forth. And then Zach may have not gotten what he wanted, or was more motivated to leave, but said, look, let's do this smoothly. I can still be around for a couple of months if that's needed. And then they said, okay, let's announce it. I don't see the whole drama of all that. I didn't find him very talkative on Q2, but it didn't strike me because we had Elon, who was more talkative than anybody else, right? So when Elon is in the room, I mean, you know my stance on all that, he just dominates, right? There's nobody else who can do anything else and just fill the little pauses he gives them, or if he throws them the ball. But other than that, nobody will take over. So I don't think his behavior in Q2 was particularly passive or particularly anticipating anything new to come. Didn't give me that tone at all. And I listened to it twice. Remember, I did that summary of it. And yes, he didn't say a lot, but it's just because Elon was so dominating the whole conversation. So yes, completely agree. He won't be in Q3 anymore. We have a new CFO, and the new CFO will be on the conference call and on the earnings call, and we will listen to him then, and we'll make up our minds then. There is absolutely no point speculating about it now. And if Elon is there in that call, the same thing will happen. Elon will dominate the conversation. We'll throw him a ball or two. He will say those two things, and that's it. And if Elon is not there, and this time I'm sure he's there, because you're not going to give a brand new CFO straight away the platform, right? So all my hopes for Q3 are gone, which is fine. I can sleep without that. But he will be there just to introduce him and give him the first thing.
I do have another question. It's a bit of a speculation question, and I do have to ask it because others are asking this. Is there any chance that the conversation started to point towards succession plan for Elon, and then they said, oh well, we're not going to do a CFO. It's going to be Tom Ju or somebody else. And then he said, well, if I'm not going to be here, then I better just leave because this is my thing. So
that's my theory.
So if that's a case, are we now potentially worried that Elon is planning to leave anytime soon when literally 2 months ago, no way, right? Because 2 months ago he said, I'm staying here with this general AI.
No. Let's put this a little bit in perspective. 6 months ago, the analysts of this world and the fund managers of this world had cramps because there was a key man risk. Remember that one? That was right before or right after the Twitter overhang, but I still remember it was about in the same period. Then came Investor Day, where we saw the full bench, and we had a couple of remarks from Elon saying, last year in August at the earnings conference, then at the shareholder meeting, then he said, key man risk, what happens if I go back to my planet and all that? You all remember that? So slowly but surely, they tackled the subject. And we had one of those court cases where I think it was Murdoch who said, yes, we have identified a potential future CEO. So if you put all these little things together, and then you also put in that Tom Ju came from China to the United States. GB Strobel is now on the board. That's the second big thing that happened in that same time lapse. And Zach probably, that's my speculation, thought, there is not enough space for me. There are now these big boys up there. They've made their mind. Like I said earlier, I think Elon has the wish that whoever follows him, but that doesn't mean it's happening in the next short term. I really think within a 3 to 5 year horizon, Elon may have other projects and hand over Tesla and just be member of the board. I don't think it's happening in the next 3 to 6 months, by far not. My window is 3 to 5 years, and everything is done. If you follow the project of Tesla, it is now that the 4 big lines, are clearly designed, but still have to be executed. We still have to get to 20 million cars. We still have to get to energy being at the same revenue level than cars. We obviously need to get the AI up, and we need to get the robots up. So all 4, we know the big lines, and there's certainly smaller lines coming, but the execution still has to be done. And so his role is still very active, and I don't think he has any, desire to go. The silver lining from this Twitter thing is that we now know the second bench. We know these 16 executives, and we know how, trustworthy they are and how good they are. And we also have the understanding that the daily presence of Elon at the door checking whether every employee is there is just not necessary anymore. That was production hell. That was, those moments. Today we're in a different phase, and he can concentrate on many things, including Tesla, and that's just a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's got a lot to do at Tesla still, and in order to also kind of have this spacefaring, civilization on a different like this is going to need an incredible amount of funding and dollars, and there's just you have the mission, and then you have kind of the economies that are created from the mission that he's doing. I just think he's going to want to continue that and grow it and drive it further. So I don't see that as a transition. I do see that scenario may have played out as what Alexander described in terms of succession planning and so forth. And by the way, when you're doing succession planning at the company, all of those 16 executives had to go through their succession planning as well, and highlight who their ready now, that's called ready now successor, or ready in 1 or 2 years successor. And they had to do that as well. So again, this happens. And the other thing I would say is Zach could probably have been getting actively recruited by several different companies. Everybody sees the price or the what's out there, or the capability in terms of what's out there in terms of EV and driving an EV future in your company. He could have been getting actively.
That will break
recruited.
my heart. If he goes to an EV company, that will break my heart. Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
we'll see.
End of the day, this is a nothing burger. He is, executives come and go all the time for various reasons. We've seen it with every company. We've seen it with Tesla. Nothing's going to change with regards to, like you just said, Alexander, the 4 business units, the 5, the 6, the 7 that's coming together. Everything's moving forward for Tesla. Massive business that's just on its own going to happen regardless of 1 person, 2 people leave. And then this person said, Tim Gunter said, good to get it out now and have it on the rear view mirror when Cybertruck and Project Highland are out. I mean, we're literally at the doorstep of that. Those are both going to come out in a month or 2. So, yeah. I mean,
I don't think
big.
this is the timing this is not something they could time. I don't think this was something like, for a couple of weeks we were going, shall we get this out on Monday, August 7th, or shall we wait for September, whatever. When you're a publicly traded company and this decision is taken, you need to let the SEC know. You can probably wiggle a couple of hours, and over the weekend, it's something where you can take into consideration, when is my Cybertruck launching, or when is my Highland Model 3 rolling out? That's not how it works.
Okay, I think that's good. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We just had to report immediately. Thank you, Alexandra and Jeff. That was good.
Sorry for the makeup. No makeup day, right? That's just the way
wonderful.
it is.
You look great.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for
Take
managing
care.
this. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.